Hello everybody. Today is the 26th of May 2016, equal with 6th of Khordad 1395 in Persian calendar, and it's the third month of spring, though the weather is hot right now. I am hot here. The weather is not good and we need air conditioner. Anyway, I start the third part of my lectures about how an Dervish order, Safavid order, could establish Persian Safavid Empire in 1501, and I try to explain the hidden useful elements in this Dervish order that they could do that. I try to find them and explain them. Okay, then I start with a short paragraph from the Dervish Azizuddin Nasafi, because we are speaking about the Sufis and Arifs and Dervish orders. I would like to start with this paragraph. I read it first in Persian, then I translate it. صحبت با نیکان بدار و صحبت با بدان مدار، که هرچه هر که یافت از نیکی هر که یافت از نیکی از صحبت نیکان یافت، و هرچه یافت از بدی از صحبت بدان یافت. So what does it mean? It means speak with good people and do not speak with bad people. That whatever somebody found from being good and goodness and good things, he found from speaking with good people, and whatever somebody found from bad, he found or she found from speaking with bad people. کمال همنشین در من اثر کرد. When we speak or we sit with somebody that is not bad, his or her qualities comes to us. Yes. Okay, then I need to explain about something about the Persianization. I said the Safavids capital first in Tabriz, then Qazvin, and then Isfahan, and I called it Persianization. Some friends said, it was not because of the geographical, security, because Tabriz was near the border of the Turks and it was in danger, and Qazvin, and what about the Isfahan? This changing, it was not because of this security consideration. Yes, it is true. It was part of it was because of the security consideration. From Tabriz to Qazvin, accept. What about Qazvin to Isfahan? For example, if you consider Tehran, which was the capital of Agha Muhammad Khan Qajar in 1810, something like that, because it was in a very, very good situation, a good position, good condition. If you are in Tehran, you could control all over the Iran, right? And Qazvin is very close to Tehran. So if it was the only problem, security of the country and have a good position, not capital near the border that enemy can't occupy it easily. So Qazvin, it was okay. They didn't need to go to Isfahan. Do I accept that? I am not saying that there is something wrong. Yes, there was security concerns also, but also it was the process of Persianization by Safavids. Little by little, they Persianized. Though they were not, I think they were Kurdish from the beginning or something. They were not foreigners from the beginning, but Persianized, having the culture of the Persia to Kurdish, they have the same culture. You know what I mean. Yes, you know what I mean. Maybe I try to explain it later about the Safavids. And then, some friends, they write letter to me, email to me, and they use the word Turkey. Turkey people. You cannot say Turkey people, right? Or Kurdi people. We cannot say Kurdi people. Or Afghani. We cannot say Afghani. Afghani is the money of the people of Afghanistan. It's like dollar there, right? If we want to call the people that they are living in Afghanistan, we should say Afghan. We cannot say Afghani. We can say Irani, we can say Amerikai, we can say Hollandi or Faransavi or whatever, but we cannot say Afghani. It is not a proper word. It's a mistake. We should say Afghan. and we could not say Kurdi people. No, in English we can say Kurdish people or whatever. I am speaking about the Persian. We cannot say Kurdi people. Kurd is adjective for the Kurd people. You know, if you say this man is Kurd, means he's Kurdish. You cannot say Kurdi. If you say Kurdi, then it's a mistake. I mean, it's a mistake. You cannot use this word. We don't have this word ever in our language. We don't have. If you say Kurdi, then it's not a proper word for that. And also, we cannot say this man is Turkey. When you could say this man is Turk. Okay, if you say Turk, means he's Turkish. In Persian, we say Turk is adjective for that man. Or we cannot say this man is Arabi. No, Arabi, no. I mean, we should say this man is Arab. Then it means he's Arabic. It is enough, you know. These words, I mean, they are exceptions. I said you can say Tehran, Tehrani, Shiraz, Shirazi, Isfahan, Isfahani, something like that. But about Turk, Kurd, Arab, Afghan, we cannot say. It's a mistake. Please pay attention in your emails, and also in when you speak with other people, not just with me. And I have seen on web, many people, they make this mistake, and I don't like it. I mean, we shouldn't. I mean, it makes the language ugly, right? So we are going to the order. It was the beginning, so we go to the lecture itself. My main question is, I mean, I want to explain how a peaceful dervish order could establish the Persian Empire. It was a question. Petrushevsky is a Russian historian and a scholar. He says that in the 9th century, I think about 16th and 9th century, it becomes about 15th century. 15th century, he says, because the 15th century AD, because I mean, we have in Iran, we have nomads. I don't know, Ashayar, I don't know how to say in English. They live in two places. When here it becomes cold, they go to the warm places. When it becomes hot, they come to the cold places. I mean, and they have sheep and other things. I mean, and they are living on their animals that they have, you know, like sheep, cow, and other things, and they are movable. They don't stand in a place. They stay, for example, in the winter here, and for summer they go somewhere else. And they are fighters. They know how to use weapons because their life is harsh, and they are brave people usually. And most of the dynasties in Iran, they are coming from this group of the people, from the Ashayar. And they say, I mean, the place that they are living in the winter, they say Qishlag. Qishlag is a Turkish word. Qish means winter, and Lag is the place that they are staying. And Yaylag or Yaylag, Yay in Turkish means summer, and Lag is a place. So they go from Qishlag to Yaylag, from winter place to the summer place, from summer place they are coming to the winter place. And as I said, they are very brave people, and they know how to use the weapon. Women, men, they are strong and ready to fight, and good bodies. I mean, they are not suffering of the problems of living in the cities and no movement. And Petrushevsky says, because these people attached to the Safavid orders, they changed I mean, the character of this order, and this order became a fighter order, and because of that it could establish the Safavid Empire. I think part of this story is true. I could agree with Petrushevsky about that, but not about all of that, because they were the Safavids. They were not the only order in Iran that they tried to capture the power, to take the power. We have Hurufiye, we have Noqtaviye, we have Moshashaiye, and many. In fact, in that age, political parties, they were working under the name of the religious orders and sects, right? So we have the same phenomenon. I mean, they were not just Safavids, because Ashayar, I mean, nomads attached to them. In Hurufiya, there were no Ashayar as far as I know, and Noqtaviya, there were no Ashayar. I don't know about Moshashaiye, I don't have enough information about them. and Sarbedaran. I mean, no, it covers. I agree about the Petrushevsky, that yeah, it is true. The fighter people changed them, and it was a big help. But I don't think it answers all of the question, right? What I think, and there's a question. You know, the question is here: these peaceful people, how all of a sudden they started to think about to establish an empire, to take the power, huh? What I want to say, I mean, these dervish orders, they were from the beginning, they were resistance. They were fighting with the enemy that occupied Iran under different names. But because they didn't have any weapon, and they lost the war already, and they couldn't do anything, so they started to fight, to resist in cultural way. You know what I'm saying? It is what they tried. They tried to first to tame the enemy, to civilize the enemy, and also to keep their culture, their rituals, their identity, or whatever. And when there was a good time to rise, they rose. When there was a good time to take the power, they did it. They did it because it was ready. They had the same idea, but when they didn't have this idea, they were peaceful. When it was a good time, then they started to fight and take the power. It was their strategy. What I want to say dervishes, they were not peaceful. Of course, during the time they are changing, maybe sometimes they were peaceful. But what I want to say, they were resisting with enemy. They were objecting to the enemy. If they had power, they were killing enemy. If they didn't have power, they were ready to just say what they need and to die for that. You know, it was something like, it's a little bit complicated. Just I want to say, it was a cultural resistance. In most of the cases, when you study about them, it's a cultural resistance, though there are many documents that we don't have access to them, and we must find them and read them. I'm not going to give to be 100%, insist on what I am saying, but it's the result of my studies. They were doing cultural resistance. When they didn't have power, they were peaceful. When there was an opportunity to take the power, they did it, and opportunity came. You know, when the Mongols collapsed the Abbasid Caliphs in Baghdad, I think it was 14th, 13th century, I don't remember exactly, I don't know the dates about the area that is not my expertise, I don't know all of the dates. In Hijra calendar, it was 656, it must be about 14th century, 13th century. And when they collapsed the Safavid, the Abbasid Khilafat, which they were Sunnis in Baghdad, and after that there was freedom for dervishes and Shiites, and they took advantage of this opportunity and they established the Persian Empire. But again, what I am going to do, I am trying to explain the hidden useful elements that I gave a short list of them. And I don't think this list is complete yet. Maybe there are a few other things that I need to add them. I'm trying to explain that. So we start. I spoke about 3 factors: to tolerate, to endure, thirst, hunger, and be ready for difficult life. These 3 things. There were other things. Right now I'm trying to explain these 3 things that all of the dervishes, most of the dervishes, they were familiar with that, and they were hungry many times, and thirsty many times, and hard life many times. For example, if you read the mystical books, there are many stories about that. All of the time they suggest don't eat too much, don't drink too much, and be ready for hard life, for harsh life. Don't go for welfare. They don't like it. So dervishes, they were familiar from the beginning with this kind of living. They didn't have a good life. Deliberately. So it could make them good soldiers. Soldiers in military service, they ask you to do the same things, to be ready, to be hungry for a long time, to be thirsty, and hard life, not sleeping in a I don't know, in a good place every night, right? Saadi has, for example, if I want to bring the examples, Saadi has in Golestan, there are many stories about this, about how to tolerate and endure the hardship and do not go for welfare. One of them, he is speaking about two persons that they were traveling with each other. One of them was very strong, eating 3 times per day, like us, right? And the other one eating just once per 2 days. It means in 48 hours he had just 1 food, and the other one 6 food. And they went to a city and they arrested him, that they are under the suspicion that they are a spy. Okay, they put them in a home and they closed the door, and they went for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks they understood, they are nobody, they are innocent, and they opened the door of the room and saw, the man who was eating 3 times per day, and he was strong, he died. But the other one, he's still alive. And people surprised, how it happened. This person was very strong and this one is weak. And there was a wise man there. He said there is no place for surprise. This person has got used to tolerate, to endure hunger, but the other one was not. And because of that, he died sooner. He died early. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there are many stories in the books, and suggesting all of the time, do not eat too much, do not drink too much, and just be harsh with your body. Don't follow the orders of your body. Whatever it wants, don't follow. It is a continuous suggestion and fight. And Sufi, Arif, Sufi, one of the meaning of Sufi is wool, because their clothes was from harsh wool. It was not a soft silk or something. Because of that, they were calling Sufi. Of course, it is one of the meaning and one of the stories about them, right? So they were ready. They were get used the kind to the hard life. They were not people that they were coming from the welfare. So it makes them good soldiers when time came, right? When they come, for example, Diogenes or Diogenes, I don't know what is his name in English. I tried several times to learn, but I forgot again. That this man in the Greece, I said the story of him with Alexander the Macedonian. He didn't have anything from the world. He had a something for drinking water. One day he saw a boy drinking with his hand, and he threw away the glass. He said, I don't need that. They were living in a hard situation, so their body was ready for hardship, for hard life. Okay, then I have written several cases here that I don't forget what I want to say. How it works, the people that they are ready to fight, they are not coming from welfare. They have not got used to living in welfare, and they could eat anything, and they don't care about the quality. They care about the quality of food, but they could eat just bread. They could eat, they are not searching for this food or this special food or this. They could eat anything that they could find, and they are ready for how they could change the destiny of the wars. And it is still true. It is still, now we have nuclear weapons or whatever you may think, it is still true. The people that they are hard, they can win many things, even in daily life. For example, when the Muslims attacked to Iran, to Persian Empire, they were naked. The Ferdowsi naked, they had clothes, but clothes, you cannot call it clothes. Ferdowsi in Shahnameh. Ferdowsi is a Persian poet. In Shahnameh is his book. He has a poem. I read it. He says, there is a correspondence between Persians and Arabs, and they say it is the letter of the Persians, 2 verses. I cite just 2 verses. The Persians' letter to the Arabs. به نزد که جویی دستگاه، به نزد که جویی همی دستگاه، برهنه سپه بود برهنه سپاه، به نانی تو سیری و هم گرسنه، نه پیل و نه تخت و نه بار و بنه. Okay, translation says, I mean, where are you coming from? Something like that. The naked general, the naked army. The general is naked and the army is naked. They were very poor. They didn't have anything, right? And you are full with the bread, and you are hungry with the bread. Means, I mean, you don't have too much. You have just a little. With the bread, your life is just one bread. You don't have elephant, and you don't have throne and nothing, just empty hand. You have come to fight with us. And they didn't take them seriously, but they won the war. Muslims won the war and collapsed the Persian Empire. And it's 1400 years right now. Right? Because they were ready for hardship. But Persians, they were not ready for hardship. They were living in welfare in cities, so they lost the war. Right? The other case that I can speak about that is about the Dandangan. Dandangan is a city in the Khorasan. It was a city in Khorasan about 1,000 years ago, about 980 years ago, there was a fight between the Seljuqids and Ghaznavids. They are two Turkish dynasties that they were ruling Iran about 1,000 years ago. And these Seljuqids several times attacked to the Khorasan. Khorasan is a province in Iran. And finally, Sultan Masood of Ghaznavi. Sultan Masood tried to fight with them. And he sent a messenger, ambassador messenger to the Seljuqids, to the Toghrol, and said, if you don't go yourself, I have an army, big army, maybe 400,000 people, and I come and ruin, and I kill all of you. You know what was the answer of them to them? They said, listen, go say to your king that sky is our father and the earth is our mother. We don't care. Come after us if you can. And they couldn't. 400,000 soldiers. I don't know the exact number, but they were big. These people, they are hard. They go in the desert and you cannot find them. And desert is not 5,000 miles, 6,000 miles, 10,000 miles. Just go. Where do you find? He said, don't threaten us. You cannot do anything. Our father is the sky and our mother is earth. It means we don't need water, or we can find water anywhere. We don't need food. We can eat anything, right? We can hunt anything in the desert, whatever you think, and we don't care. And they start, and Sultan Masood didn't take them seriously. Okay? And he had a big army. They wanted to fight in Dandangan, and Shah, the king, last night was drunk, and he stepped up on the elephant, and the elephant driver or rider, he knew that king was sleeping up on the elephant, so he rode slowly for the sake of king. And they reached late to the place that they needed to fight, and the enemy was there sooner, and they filled all of the wells. So when they arrived, there was no water because wells was filled by enemy, and finally they lost the war. If the king was a establisher, if the king was a hard person, he didn't drink at the night that he wanted to fight, and even he wanted to fight, he didn't ask he could say to the elephant rider, don't care, just go. We need a fight and we need to be there sooner. We need water. You know what I'm saying? Because his father was establisher, he was not establisher. Ibn Khaldun is a father of sociology and historian. He's a very famous person, and I like him. He speaks about the establishers, the founders. Founders are strong. The people that they found the company, the people that they found the dynasty, the people that they start something. They are strong people. They are disciplined people. They can control themselves and they are ready for hard life. Because of that, they can go forward and do great things. But the people, they're children. They are not. They are growing up from the childhood in the palace, and they don't know anything except pleasure, except fun. So they become lazy and useless people. Usually it happens. It didn't happen about this man, which you see in his picture on the back of me. Shah Abbas the First, Shah Abbas the Great. He was not the establisher, in fact, but he was a great man. He was a very strong man, and he united again. I mean, he empowered the Persian Empire again. I mean, this is not true in most of the cases, but in many cases it's true. Welfare and pleasure makes us lazy and useless, usually. So, Sultan Masood drank the wine and he lost the throne. He lost most of the Khorasan, which was a very big province at that time, and finally they went to the Ghazan and they lost the war, this strategic war, which was very important. They lost it just because king was drunk and didn't arrive to the wells on time, water wells, I mean. The other story that I can say about the Safavids, you know, Afghanistan was part of Iran in the time of Safavids, so it was a revolt. I see some people make mistakes that Afghans, they were part of Iran. It was a revolt. I mean, some Georgians, they went and they made some problem for people. They bothered people, and finally there was a revolt. They came to the Isfahan and they besieged Isfahan. And the Persian army, they didn't fight for 100 years after this treaty with Turkey. In fact, one of the reasons of the collapse of the Safavid Persian Empire was that treaty. If they didn't have this treaty, they were fighting, and the soldiers, they were ready. But about 100 years, they didn't fight. And soldiers, they were lazy. And they were, you know, when they wanted to fight with Afghans, you know, the same Afghans that you see these days, they came out of the Isfahan, and Afghans, they thought they are girls. They said, you know, oh, beautiful girls, you know, with long hairs and, you know, perfume or something nice, you know. Afghans first, they didn't believe that they are Persian soldiers. They didn't believe. They thought, you know, the girls, they have come out and finally they understood, you know, they are soldiers, and they are so, you know, nice and good looking, and I mean, very white or something, because no hardship, you know, no difficult life. Afghans didn't believe, and because of that, Afghans, which they were part of Iran in that time, and also I believe they are Persian also now, according to language and culture. They could collapse the Persian Empire, which was not good also for Afghans, and which was not good for non-Afghans, I mean the Persians themselves. Afghans were Persian themselves, just I try to distinguish. Afghans that they were living in other part of the Iran, and the Isfahanis that they were living in the capital. They could collapse because these people, the Persian soldiers in that time, they were not ready for hard life. They were different from the soldiers of Shah Ismail I, the founder of Safavid Empire. They were ready for hunger, thirst, and hardship life. They could establish the Safavid Empire, but in the time of collapse, they were not ready. They couldn't, because they were in welfare. Maybe these examples that I'm saying is too much, and you don't need that, but I'm not speaking for experts, right? I'm speaking for the, I don't know, for some people who are interested, maybe students. Then the other good example that I could say is Nader Shah Afshar, which some people call him as the Napoleon of Asia, right? And William Durant, American historian, in his book A Story of Civilization, says what he was doing about the fight, about going from here. I mean, if we compare with Frederick, Frederick is very famous in the history of Europe. He says what he was doing, I mean, what Frederick was doing, if you compare with Nader, it's just like a toy. Nader was doing much higher. I mean, he was traveling with horse and his army. The road that the people, they were riding in 15 days. He was doing in 5 or 3 days. And usually enemy was not ready there. Enemy didn't imagine that he could be here for 5 days, and they were not ready, and they were losing the fight so easily because they were not but this person and the people, Afghans, half of his army were Afghans, and the other Afshars that they are like Afghans and lords and other people. They were very harsh people. They were very harsh people and hard people and good soldiers, and they could. I don't know if you ever tried, riding for 1 day or something, how difficult it is. I have done for 3-4 hours, and I was tired for days. You know what I'm saying? It's too difficult driving day and night for 4-5 days just to reach the enemy. And he united Iran after the collapse of the Persian Empire. And it's so strong that he said to the Russians, when they occupied part of Iran, just go out. They didn't dare to fight, just they went out. And several times he beat Turks in several times they beat another, but finally they lost the war and they went out of Iran because these people, they were hard. And again I say, it is what we had in the dervishes. These people, they were ready for hard life. It is repeat because it is, I think it is one of the main factors, about the factors that I spoke, and usually we don't take it seriously, but it's very important. And also the last factor that the last example that I could speak about that, the Soviet Union in 1979, when they occupied Afghanistan, there were few people. I remember. I was very young in that time, but I remember exactly. When they occupied Soviet Union, I hear they said you cannot win. And the reason they said nobody could occupy Afghanistan. It doesn't matter if you are superpower, if you have nuclear weapon, you have good tanks, you have good soldiers, commandos, tanks, but you cannot. And later I saw that they were right. They couldn't win, and finally they lost. Soviet Union, superpower, one of the two superpowers of the world, lost the war in Afghanistan because Afghans, they were ready for hardship life, and still they have the same quality. Okay, it was the last of the part 3 of my lectures about how a Sufi order could establish Persian Safavid Empire. Have a good day. Talk to you later.